विश्वं दर्पणदृश्यमाननगरी तुल्यं निजान्तर्गतं पश्यन्नात्मनि मायया बहिरिवोद्भूतं यथा निद्रया यः साक्षात् कुरुते प्रबोधसमये स्वात्मानमेवाद्वयं तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये बीजस्यान्तरिवाङ्कुरो जगदिदं प्राङ्निर्विकल्पं पुनः मायाकल्पितदेशकालकलना वैचित्र्यचित्रीकृतं मायावीव विजृम्भयत्यपि महायोगी वयस्वेच्छया तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये तस्मै श्रीगुरुमूर्तये नमः इदं श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्तिः शान्तिः शान्तिः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ Verse number 116. पुत्रार्थं तमुपासीनाः एवमाहुः प्रजापतिः प्रजा असृजतीत्यादि श्रुतिं चोदाहरन्त्यमी. So Putrarth, we saw this, we are right now seeing the minor philosophers who are talking about the different opinions regarding the Ishvara, and we discussed the people, the meditators who says the Hiranyagarbha is a Ishvara. Well, then other philosopher, minor philosopher says no, Hiranyagarbha cannot be the Ishvara. Basically, Hiranyagarbha cannot function without the gross prapancha, gross body, etc. And therefore, definitely, Virat alone is the Ishvara, and Hiranyagarbha and Virat includes Hiranyagarbha, definitely. And therefore, Virat alone is considered as the Ishvara. So they are like that, Hiranyagarbha Ishvaravadaha, Virat Ishvaravadaha. And we have also seen in this verse 116, Chaturmukha Brahma Ishvaravadaha. So they are saying Brahmaji is a creator, ultimately. And that is how the people who want a child, definitely they worship Brahmaji. And therefore, and the creator is called Ishvara. There is no other creator. In fact, we call ourselves as a creator, that we also, have a progeny, etc. But generally it is all Ishvara's law. So Ishvara creates, basically. We are just a nimitta. Therefore, creator is one, and that is Ishvara. And therefore, Brahmaji is a creator. And therefore, not your Virat, not your Hiranyagarbha, but Brahma alone is a creator. Chaturmukha Brahma. And Chaturmukha indicates four Vedas, indicate Sarvajñatvam, omniscience, etc. And he quoted also to say, Brahmaji is a creator. For that he quoted Prajapatihi Prajaha Asrujata Ityadi Shrutim. This Shruti is there in the Taittiriya Shakha, basically, of Krishna Yajurveda. It's not in Upanishad, but it's in the earlier portion of the Veda. And so, this is a quotation. And just to prove his point, he said that. And now, Vishnu is left over, because and Shivji is left over. So, they are waiting for the opportunity. Now, the microphone comes in the hand of our the people who believe that Vishnu alone is the Ishvara, and they refute the people who say Brahmaji is the Ishvara. Anyway, so verse number 170. Vishnurnabe samudbhutah Vedah kamalajastataha Vishnurevesha ityahuhu loke bhagavata janaha. So, Bhagavataha means Vishnu Bhaktaha. Now they are a bit angry. In fact, they are very angry people. and as much as they are very staunch people. Vaishnavas, this is just a general comment. Nobody should think personally. Should not take it personally. But they are very staunch people, and they try to prove the point that Vishnu alone is a Ishvara and all other are Devatas. That is how they say. Shivji is a devata. Brahma is a devata, and rest, of course, Indradi, all they are devatas. So all are devatas, Ishvara is one, and that is Vishnu. Anyway, so they are very angry and they say, well, do you think Brahma is a Ishvara? You don't know Puranas, he says. Well, very clearly Purana depicts that Brahma came out of this, of the lotus, and that is how Brahma's name is a Kamalaja. That even Vidyaranya mentions that name, Kamalaja. Kamalat Jatam. It is Kamalaja. Kamalat Jatam, which is born of lotus. And well, this is a special type of lotus. It is not an ordinary lotus. Purana described the lotus must be very, very specific kind of a lotus. That lotus is nothing but a Samashti Sukshma Prapancha. Right? See, it comes out from the navel of Vishnu. Vishnu is a Ishvara. Maya Sabalam Brahma. And then what will come out? What will come out? Samashti, basically Sukshma Prapancha only can come out. And then from there that will be a Samashti Sthula Prapancha. But first which comes out from Ishvara, that is Narayana, is this Samashti Sukshma Prapancha. So that lotus which comes out from the navel of Vishnu is Samashti Sukshma Prapancha. And from that lotus, well, Brahmaji comes out. Means same Ishvara now identifies with the Samashti Sukshma Prapancha and becomes Brahma. Anyway, so that is how Brahma's name is Kamalaja. And that is why, one Shrungeri Acharya, well, he has written a very beautiful a stotra called Kamalaja Daita Stotram. And it's a very powerful stotra. And most of our sadhakas, Vedantin sadhakas, well, they chant this stotra every day. Because there the prayer is of a specific type. And Kamalaja Daita Stotra. Kamalaja means a Brahma. Daita means a dear to Brahma. And that is his wife. And definitely, so Kamalaja Daita means a wife of Brahmaji, and that is Saraswati. So Kamalaja Daita Stotram basically is a Saraswati Stotra. And very beautiful stotra it is. And it has 8 stanzas. And in that, the 4th line of every stanza is the prayer. That a student asks something. And what is that? Vidyam Shuddhim Buddhim Cha Dehi. So basically, Kamalaja Daita Mahyam Dehi. So that's the only thing this student is asking. Vidyam Shuddhim Buddhim. Shuddhim Buddhim means Chitta Shuddhi. Buddhi means a Chittam or our mind. And Shuddhim. So he is asking for a Chitta Shuddhi and also Vidyam, Atma Jnanam. So, well, he is praying to Saraswati, Goddess Saraswati, that you please give me these 2 things, Chitta Shuddhi and Atma Jnanam. And it's a very, very nice prayer. This is just by the way. I mean, if anyone is interested, who can chant that stotra. And in that it is also mentioned Sattvaram Dehi. So, Kamalaja Daita. Oh Saraswati, may you give me Sattvaram means instant, immediately. You may give me that immediately. So, bless me with the Atma Jnanam and Chitta Shuddhi. Anyway, this is by the way. But Kamalaja means a Brahma. And that lotus come out of whom? Vishnoho Nabehe. From the navel of the well, basically Vishnu. And so you say Brahma is a creator of everything and therefore he is a Ishvara. But the very creation of Brahmaji is from the Vishnu. And therefore Vishnu is a Ishvara. Vishnu created Brahmaji. Because he came out of the navel of this Vishnu. And so Narayana or Vishnu, who is represented Samashti Karana Shariram, that is Maya. Well, this basically Chaitanyam, which is identifying with all this entire this Prapancha, Avyakta Prapancha, well, he is a Ishvara. From there, well, Avyaktam, first the subtle Prapancha comes out, Samashti Sukshma Prapancha comes out, and from there Samashti Sthula Prapancha through grossification. So this is how it is. So Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat. Or here in Purana it is a Vishnu and Hiranyagarbha means a Brahma and well ultimately Virat Purusha. So we have the Brahma alone becomes Virat Purusha. Anyway, so this is the thing here. So means Brahmaji also was created. Don't think your Brahma is a creator. Our Vishnu is a creator of your Brahma also. And therefore Veda means here Brahma. So okay, they have given another name also. Vishnu Nabhehe Samudbhutaha Vedaha. So there is a word called Vedas. Sakarantaha Vedas Shabdaha Pullingaha. And Prathama Vibhakti Ekvachanam is Vedaha. So that means Brahmaji. And who is a Kamalajaha, who is born of this lotus. And that lotus which has come out of the navel of Vishnu. So Vishnu Nabe Samudbhuta has emerged out of this Vishnu's navel. And therefore, well, who is superior? He is asking to these people who are saying that Brahma is Ishvara, he is asking to them. Naturally, Vishnu is a greater and Vishnu is a Karanam. And Tataha Vishnu eva Ishaha. And therefore, Vishnu alone is a real God. Iti Bhagavataha Janaha Ahuhu. Iti Bhagavataha. Bhagavataha means Vishnu Bhaktaha. Well, Vishnu Bhaktaha Janaha Ahu. This is what Bhagavata says, or Vishnu Bhakta, devotees of Vishnu says. So Brahma Upasakas also have come, then Vishnu Upasakas have come. Who is left out now? Shiva. And therefore now they have got a microphone. And they say, well, you all people are wrong actually. And he says something in verse number 18, 118. Shivasya padavan ishtum Shangya Shaktastatah Shivaha Isho na Vishnurittyahuhu Shaiva Agamamaninaha. So, it is simple. Shivasya padau anveshtum Shangi Ashaktaha Tataha Shivaha Ishaha na Vishnu. This is the thing. Actually, the story is like this. This has come in Shiva. If anyone who is familiar with our Shiva Mahimna Stotra, they know this story. There was a fight between Brahma and Vishnu. Who is a creator? Who is the father of this universe? Brahma says, I am a father. I have created this entire, so I am a father. And Vishnu says, no, you are created out of my navel, so I am your father, etc. What happened was, when Vishnu came, Brahmaji was sitting in some simhasanam and he did not get up. And therefore Vishnu got angry. He said, you are my child and you don't have that much courtesy to get up, even I am your father, etc. And then Brahmaji said, you are my son. I have created everything in the universe and I have created you also. Therefore I am father. And this is a story. And then that fight was going on, then it became a war-like thing. And then Shivji came to know that, well, this is going on. So, in order to resolve this dispute, well, definitely when they were fighting and, with their own weapons about to fight, he just appeared as a big, a pole-like thing. Very bright pole. Even Vishnu and even Brahmaji's, they could not see that. Such a pole has come in between these two people, devatas. And therefore, and then they thought, what is this? Suddenly something appeared and they tried to see the end. The beginning part of it, of that pole. And for that they are trying to see in the space where it ends. They could not find. And because it has come out of the earth, so they thought, well, there must be ultimately an end in the earth itself, but there also they could not find. Ultimately, both they decided that you go up and I will go down. Vishnu says to Brahmaji, you go up and see the end of this pole, and I will go to in the Patala, etc., and try to find the end of this. So beginning and end, let's try to find out about this pole, because it's very bright. And they found this is something very peculiar. We have never seen this kind of a thing. And what is this, etc. But both could not find the beginning and end, because that's a Parmeshwara, who has no beginning and no end, right? And therefore they could not find. So both became very humble. But Brahmaji lied everything, and now I don't want to go into that further detail. But ultimately Shiva appeared and to both of them. And then, well, ultimately Shiva, consoled both of them, etc., etc. So he is quoting that story and saying that your Brahma and this Vishnu could not find my Shiva's beginning and end, and therefore Shiva alone is a Ishvara, etc. This is the story here. Anyway, so it says here, Shivasya padau anveshtum padau. Shivasya padau, well, ultimately to see the pada of this Lord Shiva. Well, Anveshtum Shangi, Ashaktaha. Shangi means one who has a Shangam. Shangam is actually a name of Lord Vishnu's bow. You know, it has come even in the Vishnu Sahasranama also. Shangadhanva Gadadharaha. Shangadhanva, one who has a Dhanu called Shanga. See, Lord Vishnu's, Lord Rama's that bow is called Kodandaha. Lord Shiva's bow is called Pinaka. Therefore, Bhagavan's one of the name of Lord Shiva is a Pinaka Panihi. One who has a Pani means a hand. Pinaka Panihi, that's a Bahuri Samasa. Pinakam Pano Yasya Saha Pinaka Panihi. In whose hand there is a Pinaka Dhanushya, Pinaka bow. And so, and Rama is called Kodanda Panihi. Vishnu is called Shangadhanva or Shangi. Shangam asya asti iti Shangi. And that Shangam is nothing but Lord Vishnu's bow. So here it says Shangi Ashaktaha Shivasya Pado Anveshtum. Well, this to see the beginning and end of that Lord Shiva. Well, Vishnu tried a lot, but he could not find a beginning and end of that. Means he could not find the basically the nature of Lord Shiva, and therefore Lord Shiva alone is a Ishvara. Your Vishnu could not find his end, beginning and end. Therefore, Vishnu is just a Devata, and that is how Shangi Ashaktaha. Ashaktaha means incapable. Shangi means this Vishnu who has this bow called Shangam. He is Ashaktaha. He was incapable to find the feet of Lord Shiva, to find the beginning and end of Lord Shiva. Anveshtu means to find, locate, you can say. And Tataha. Therefore, it is very clear that Vishnu is a finite, means it is Devata, and Shiva is infinite, and therefore Shiva alone is a Ishvara. Therefore, Shiva Ishaha, Shiva alone is a real God, na Vishnu, not Vishnu. Now here you have to take care. You can see here, so Shiva Ishaha, na Vishnu, right? So somebody says Shiva Ishaha na and Vishnu. Basically Shiva is not a Ishvara, but Vishnu is a Ishvara. You know what happened? One of the Acharya has really discovered this. He said, we have one very famous, a saying, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na Paraha. So, Na Paraha. So, one Acharya, Dvaitvadi Acharya says, well, Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya Jivo Brahmaiva Na. Jiva is not Brahman. Aparaha. He is different from Brahman. Apara means a different. Anyaha. So, this is how it is. So, where Nakara should be taken, you should be very careful. So, same way here, Shivaha Ishaha Na. Vishnuhu Ishaha. Means you can take later that way. So, Shivaha Ishaha Na. Shiva is not Ishvara, but Vishnu is Ishvara. You should not take that way. Shivaha Ishaha Na Vishnuhu Ishaha. Right? So, Na should go with what? Vishnu. Anyway, this is just by the way. So, Tataha Shiva Ishaha na Vishnu Ishaha. Vishnu is not the God. So, up to this is the quotation. Iti ahuhu. Well, thus declare Shaivas. Thus declared the Shiva Upasakas declare like this. And for this Shaivas, there is another word they have used. Agama Maninaha. So, Agama Maninaha means what? This Shaivas are Agama Pradhana. There are others also, I will talk about that. So basically they are not Veda Pradhana, but they are Agama Pradhana. What is this Agama? Agama is basically, is a Shastra of course, but is a set of non-Vedic literature actually. And they are generally in the form of a cult. And well, so you have a Shiva cult called Shaivas, and then Vaishnava cult means, so Vishnu's cult means definitely they are called Vaishnavas, etc. And so that is Agama. And our approach, Vedantin's approach or Vaidika's approach to the Agama is to respect their puja vidhi basically. Very, very elaborate puja vidhi. Most of the puja vidhis of most of the devatas come from Agama. How a Vishnu's puja should be done? Well, ultimate source is considered a Agama Shastra. Not only that, if you want to make a temple of a Vishnu or a temple of a Shiva, Dakshinamurti or anything, well, ultimately, the temple construction, how it is to be done, etc., all the guidelines come from the Agama literature. So that way it is very wonderful thing. So, but in Veda, because temples are not mentioned in the Veda, in Vedic Matam, puja also is not there. This our Shodashopachar puja, etc. is also not there. In Veda there is a Shrauta karma, and that is in the form of a homam, right? Offering in the fire, etc. And therefore, temples are not Veda Pradhana, temples are all Agama Pradhana. And therefore, what this Vedika do? We absorbed Agama in the Vedic style, and we absorbed the temples, we absorbed their pujas, and we absorbed everything. Only one thing we don't accept from Agama, and that is their philosophy. Because this is their philosophy. Well, Shaiva people means who follow Shaiva Agama, they say Shiva alone is Ishvara. Vishnu, Brahma, all are basically Devatas. Then Vaishnava Agamas or Pancharatras, etc. are there. Well, they say Vishnu alone is Ishvara, Shiva and Brahma are basically just Devatas. They are finite entities, finite beings. Whereas Vishnu is an infinite one, like that. So that we can't accept. Where we, the Vedantin will say where Jiva and Ishvara is also one thing. Where is a question of a difference in the Ishvara also. So we don't accept their philosophy so far as this thing is concerned. And so we rejected their philosophy. So their philosophy is Avaidikam. And among all the Agamas, the closest Agama to the Veda is a Shakta Agama. Shakta Agama means basically which definitely talks about a Shakti or a Devi. So basically many Advaitins also borrow the meditation techniques given in the Shakta Agama basically. So the Devi Agama, well, Shakti worshippers, basically that is supposed to be closest to the Veda. But otherwise, these Vaishnava Agamas and other Shaiva Agamas, etc., well, they are quite away in terms of philosophy, away from Veda, definitely. So Agama philosophies we reject, and but so you can understand Agama acharas we accept. Means the way of doing pujas, way making the temples. So many things are there. Entire construction of the temple. How much the height of the pillar should be there. What kind of a gopuram should be there. What will be the height of our idol should be there. All this. So many calculations they have. Very beautiful. So their pujas and the temple construction guidelines, all we accept. That is also part of Agama. But only that philosophy we won't accept, in which they say one particular Saguna Ishvara alone is the Ishvara, and other are Devatas, etc. So for us it is totally Avaidikam, because Veda says there is nothing other than Ishvara. Where is the question of a difference between Jiva and Ishvara? And where is a question of finding a difference between two Devatas, and one is considered as the Ishvara and other is considered as a Devata, etc. We don't accept it. And therefore, in most of the Agamas, well, this Jivatma Paramatma Ikyam does not exist, and therefore we don't accept, because that is a vision of the Veda. Anyway, so our goal is Jivatma Paramatma Ikyam, and so here they says Agama Maninaha Shaivaha. Agama Maninaha, those who follow just Agama, those who believe in Agama, those who follow Agama, they are Shaivas and Vaishnavas and Shaktas, etc., etc. So, they say that Shiva alone is a Ishvara. And when this much is said, there is somebody is waiting, because after all we have finished Hiranyagarbha, Virat, then Brahma as a Ishvara, and then Vishnu as a Ishvara, and then Shiva as a Ishvara. Now who is left over? Well, Ganapati Bhaktas are waiting, and they are very heavy people. So looking at them itself, well, definitely. So they called Ganapatyas. Well, they are waiting, and they say something to this Shaivas. What do they say? Puratrayam sadayitum vignesham sopya pujayat vinayakam prahurisham ganapatyamathe ratah. So, he says, well, Shiva is not the greatest. My Ganesha alone is the greatest one. And he should also, this Ganapatyas also should give a supporting logic, right? They should give an appropriate argument, and that they give in this verse number 119. What they say, Ganapatya means a Ganapati Upasaka. Actually, anything connected to Ganapati is called Ganapatyam. So, Ganapatya Matam or Ganapatya Purushaha, etc. One who worship Ganapati as as a Devata, he is called Ganapatya. Or the opinion regarding this Ganapati as a Ishvara, etc. is called Ganapatya Matam. Opinion. Anyway, so it's a name of a system basically. So people who follow that are also called Ganapatya. And so he says here Ganapatya Mate Rataha. So people who are committed to this Ganapatya Matam, what do they argue? Saha api Vignesham apujayat. Saha means what we have talked in earlier verse, that is Shiva. That Shiva also, Saha api means Shiva api, Shiva also Vignesham apujayat. Shiva also worshipped Ganapati. So basically, you consider Shiva as a greatest one, but he had to conduct a worship. And why did he worship? He has to worship to undertake a very, very big task. Of what? Of destroying Tripurasura. So for destroying Tripurasura, Shivji first worshipped Ganapati, and then he definitely killed this Tripurasura. And therefore, the story of a Tripurasura also you must be knowing. So there were asuras, ruling the 3 flying cities actually. Very beautiful it is. Philosophically, it is just wonderful thing. But it has been described in Puranas like that. So there were asuras ruling the 3 flying cities. One is that gold city, other is a silver city, and third is a iron city. And these cities, they themselves can fly off. And these asuras, each asura was living like a skylab, before few years there was a skylab. Of course, it fell into the ocean. But so this is a bigger than skylab. So all these 3 cities were flying cities, and now these 3 asuras were ruling that. Anyway, this Tripurasura, where they were threatening the world, and Lord Shiva had to destroy them. And that is how you must be knowing also Lord Shiva's one of the name is Tripurari. So Ari means a enemy, and Tripurari, so one who is a enemy of this Tripurasura, and he killed also, of course. But before killing, he worshipped Ganapati. Anyway, but so far as this, in philosophical language, if you see these three basically cities, were nothing but 3 bodies. You know very well. This in Bhagavad Gita itself, Navadvare, Puredehi, etc. has been told. This body is compared with the Puram, city. And so the 3 bodies, these 3 bodies, gross body, subtle body, and causal body. In that, this asura is moving. What is that asura? Ahankara. Ahankara is the one who is identifying with all these 3 bodies. And in fact, even in Kaivalya Upanishad also it has been very nicely said that about that 3 bodies are nothing but 3 cities. Puratraye kridati yasya jivaha tatastu jatam sakalam vichitram. Puratraye kridati yah jiva. Ahankara, this ahankara or jiva, Puratraye, this he dwells in these 3 bodies. And this ahankara is this is asura who is dwelling in these 3 bodies. And what are the names of this Tripurasuram? Vishwa, Taijasa and Prajna. Right? Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Vishwa also is a asura. Prajna is a asura. Why are you calling them asura? Because ultimately from ahankara everything arises. See, from ajnanam we have talked yesterday. From ajnanam adhyasa can happen. Because if the consciousness is a self-illumining. So, along with the ignorance, the consciousness which is self-illumining takes himself to be other than what he is, really there. And therefore, these 3 bodies are there. So, when consciousness manifests in this body, basically, because of ajnanam, it takes the body as the self. Right? And then they are called, Sthula Sharir Abhimani is a Vishwaha, Sukshma Sharir Abhimani is a Taijasaha, and Karana Sharir Abhimani is a Prajna. That is okay. But because of this, ultimately, because of ahankara, there is a kartrutvam, there is a bhoktrutvam, there is a ragadvesha, there is a karma, there is a punyapapa, everything. So all so-called evils, a group of all evils are associated with this ahankara alone. Either Vishva, Tejas, Prajna, etc. And therefore, it is called asura. And this is why it is called asura. And pramatrutvam, etc. Raga, Dvesha, Karma, everything is there. So this ahankara is a Tripuraha. And well, how do you destroy this ahankara, this Tripurasura? How do you destroy? By basically opening the third eye of the wisdom. That's how Shiva opened the third eye and killed this Tripurasura. So here also, by opening the third eye of a wisdom, and this Vishwa Taijasa Prajna, this Tripurasura has been killed. And what is that third eye of wisdom? Oh, Mandukya says very beautifully, Nantah Prajnam, na Bahish Prajnam, na Ubayatah Prajnam, etc., na Prajnana Ghanam, etc., etc. So, well, all Vishwa Tejas Prajna has been basically negated. That you know very well. So, they are all burnt out. And burning means falsification here in our case. So, anyway, this is an aside information. But Lord Shiva took a job of a Tripura Sura Samhara. And for that, he had invited all Devatas. That is, one of the verse in Shiva Mahimna Stotra well describe this. That why Ishvara, who is a Sarvashaktiman, does this kind of an adambara. That he says, well, I cannot kill this Tripurasura. So he invited Devatas. And you know this verse, very beautiful verse. Ratha kshoni yanta shatadrutiragendro dhanuratho rathange chandrarkau rathacharanapanish kshara iti didakshosteyam, etc., etc. And it is there. So he invited this, he wanted to kill this Tripurasura by sitting in a chariot. And then somebody should be a chariot. And then somebody should be the wheels of the chariot. So Lord Vishnu says, I will become your chariot. And then, Surya, the sun and the moon, they said, we will be the wheels of the chariot, etc., etc. And then all devatas came to the help of Lord Shiva in order to kill this Tripurasura. So that has been, and there is one stotra called Samba Sivashtakam. It is composed by our Shankaracharya ji. And there also the same thing has been described, what you find in that Shiva Mahimna Stotra, in that verse. In a single verse, whole Shankaracharya describes the entire story of killing Tripurasura. Just one verse. That how the Devatas were invited and then what Lord Shiva did in order to kill Tripurasura. Just one verse. And the Stotra is a Samba Sivashtakam. Anyway. Basically, what I am saying is that this is not very, relevant to Pancadasi, but basically, what I am saying is this is a background. Why these people, the Ganapati Upasakas or Ganapatyas say that, Ganapati alone is Ishvara and Shiva is not Ishvara. For that, I have given you this background. So, Ganapatya people observe this much, that, what Shiva did later and afterward, they don't bother. But only one incident they will remember, that Lord Shiva did Ganesh Puja before killing Tripurasura, and therefore that was a successful task for him. But they forgot all other things. Ganapatya people forgot every other thing, what Shiva did, etc. Anyway, so they say Shiva needs a blessing of a Vignesha or Vigneshwara, etc. And so Ganapati is a superior to Shiva. Anyway, let's go to verse. Saha means the Shiva api apujayat. Shiva also worshipped Vignesham. Well, Shiva also worshipped this Vignesham, Ganapatim. For what? Puratrayam sadaitum. Puratrayam sadaitum. This should look familiar to you. Sadaitum. This sadaitum means to destroy. There is a sad dhatu, which is there in word Upanishad also, right? Upanishad, there is a sad, our sad word is there. And there we say one of the meaning is avasadayati, destruction. Sad dhatu has that meaning, to destroy. Sadaitum, in order to destroy. What? Puratrayam Tripurasura. In order to destroy Puratrayam or this Tripurasura, Shivaha Vignesham apujayat. Shiva worshipped this Vignesham, Ganapatim, And well, basically, this is therefore Shiva alone is a. So Vinayaka or this Ganesha means is a Ishvara, not a Shiva. And who says that Vinayakam Isham Prahu, with this Ganapatya people, they say Vinayakam Isham Prahu, Vinayaka alone is a Ishvara. But very interesting thing is, Vidyaranya Swami see, for Ganapati he has used two words, right? One is a Vignesha, that is in the first line. And in the second line, Vinayaka. There is a purpose behind it. Because, see, Shiva went, Shiva, in order to kill this Puratrayam or the Tripurasura, well, it was a big obstacle. And therefore, definitely he has to worship whom? Vignesham, right? Who kills who removes the obstacle, and the mission should be successful. So Vignesha word is appropriate word in the first line, because Shiva wants to undertake that task, and he wants freedom from the Vigna, and therefore he worshipped Vignesha. That is okay. But in second line, he has used word Vinayakaha, and so Vinayakaha means what? Vigataha Nayakaha Yasmat Saha Vinayakaha. So he is the ultimate God. Nayaka means a leader. So Vinayaka means Ganapati is the one of whom there is no leader. He is the leader of all. Means he is the Ishvara of all. So the second line, this Ganapati Upasakas definitely says that our Ganapati is basically Ishvara, and of that Ganapati there is no other Ishvara. There is no other Nayaka. He is the ultimate God, beyond whom there is no more God. Because what happens is, because everywhere, when we talked about Brahma, we said Vishnu is a superior. Then when we talked about Vishnu, then somebody said Shiva is superior. When we said, okay, Shiva is superior, then somebody said, no, Ganesha is superior. And naturally now, what will be our thinking? That, there will be somebody else who is superior to Ganesha also. That's how this Ganesha Bhakta wants to remove that. So he says, journey comes to end because there is no superior Nayaka or Ishvara to Ganesha, and therefore Ganesha is the final Ishvara. That is how they want to convey. And so he is a bossless. Nayaka means a boss. Vigataha Nayaka. He is one who doesn't have any boss. Anyway, ultimate God. So Vinayakam Isham Prahu. The ultimate God they talk about is this. And of course you can go endlessly. But the conclusion is, our conclusion is, confusions are endless. That is the thing. Confusions are endless. So this process is endless, but confusions are endless. And therefore we have to put an end to the confusion. Anyway, so we won't go. Because otherwise, if you think about a current, this one, then you will find basically nowadays, I would say Anjaneya Upasakas are more. And therefore Anjaneya is even... in fact, Anjaneya temples are maximum in India compared to any temple. Lord Rama's temple, Ganesha temple, all temple, and you put together, even more than that, there will be Anjaneya temples. Every street has an Anjaneya temple in India, almost. So, maximum upasakas are of Anjaneya, Hanumanji. And therefore, we have to, looking into the current situation, we should say, no, Ganesha also is not a Ishvara. Anjaneya is a Ishvara, but they put an end, saying Vinayaka. Well, there is no Nayaka, there is no boss of this Ganapati, and therefore he is the final, supreme Lord. Okay, let's go to verse 120. Evamanye swasvapakshabhi mane nanyatha mantrarthavaadakalpadin ashritya pratipedire. Evam, in this manner, means as shown from verse number, we started with 104, right? Means all these minor philosophers regarding what do they say regarding Ishvara. We started with 104 and we completed in 119. So, in this manner, means as shown in from verse number 104 to 119, in all these verses, what do we find? The different philosophers have a different definitions of Ishvara. Therefore, Anye, there are other also. Vidyaranya says there are other people also waiting to say that this one is a Ishvara and that one is a Ishvara, etc. I gave you example of Anjaneya also. So Anya means there are other people. So we have not exhausted the list, but basically means many other people are there. Swaswa Paksha Abhimanena, Swaswa Paksha Abhimanena. So each one is attached to, well, or is convinced of basically his own matam, and he sympathizes with all other bhaktas basically. So Vaishnavas are definite that Shaivas will go to hell. Shaivas are definite Vaishnavas go to hell. And each one will tell like that. The other people will go to hell. One of our Swami was telling. Basically, he was telling his story that one Christian came and told him that Swami, you will go to hell. So he had not even asked that where will I go after death. But that person on his own, well, he told on his own like that. Then Swami asked him that are you definite? Yes, he said, I am very definite that you will go to hell. Are you sure? So he said, I am sure. Then Swami asked to that Christian fellow, where will you go? He said, I will go to heaven. Then again, Swami confirmed that are you sure that you will go to heaven? So yeah, said, I will definitely go to heaven and after death, and you will go to hell after death. Are you sure? He said, yeah, I am sure. Then that means when I will go to hell after death, you won't be there in the hell, right? Yeah, I won't be there in the hell. So, well, then I prefer hell, because I can live in peace without you, and therefore basically, so this is how it is. Every other one philosopher will tell the others who follow a particular opinion, have a particular opinion regarding Ishvara will definitely go to hell. So this is Anyatha Swaswa Paksha Abhimanena, being, because of this strong identification of the particular opinion, Anyatha Pratipedire, they gave their own definition of Ishvara in different ways. Anyatha means in a different ways. In different ways means what? They talk about the form of Ishvara differently. They talk about the place where Ishvara resides also differently, right? So elaborate descriptions are there regarding how the Ishvara is, what kind of a form he has, and what kind of other things what other characteristics of a form are there, and where do they reside, etc., etc. Somebody says in Kailasa, somebody says in Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna people will say, well, the Krishna is in Golok Vrindavan, etc. So always cows are around and all this description. Anyway, what I am saying is Anyatha Pratipedire means they gave description in different ways regarding form of Ishvara, regarding their location, etc., etc. Anyway, and so this is they say they have their opinion based on what? Means they take a scriptural support, and scriptural support means of what kind of a scriptural support? So here he says, Vidyaranya says, mantra arthavada kalpadin ashritya. Ashritya means taking support. Well, taking the scriptural support of mantra, arthavada and kalpa. What is that? Mantra is the first portion of the Veda, and where various deities are glorified. We generally call them as a Samhita portion. And where all the suktas are definitely there, where the glorification of various deities are there, that's called mantra portion. So definitely Shaivas will quote Rudram, etc. And Vaishnavas will quote Narayana Suktam. And you know Narayana Suktam very well. In Purusha Suktam, later part it comes. Narayanam Param Brahma Tattvam Narayanah Paraha, etc., etc. You know very well. And in Rudram also the whole thing, Namaste, etc. Namaste Rudra, Manyava Utota Ishave Namah, etc. All this. Well, that is also part of Veda. So you will find basically the glories of different deities, well, they are there in the mantra portion, resorting to that. Since they find the glorification of a particular deity, they say that is the Ishvara. That is how it is. Well, even for Ganapati also you will find Om Gananahan Tva Ganapati Gum Havamahe Kavim Kavina Mupamshavastu, etc. You know this. So basically all types of mantras are there in that mantra portion, singing the glory of various deities. So that resorting to that, well, they say Ganapati is a Ishvara, somebody says Shiva is a Ishvara, somebody says Vishnu is a Ishvara, etc. So this is one thing. Well, they take help of of this mantra portion. Second is what? Arthavada. Well, certain portion of the Veda is where a particular devata is glorified as a part of a ritual actually. So in ritual, various devatas are worshipped and they are always offered some oblations, and these deities are also glorified. That is called Arthavada portion. And and looking into that Arthavada portion, they find, well, sometimes Shiva is glorified as a deity of that particular yaga, etc. And therefore, well, they think Shiva is a Ishvara. Then some in Ganapati Homa, etc. Well, you find certain, the deity Ganapati, etc. is glorified as a part of the ritual. Well, then they say, well, that is Ishvara, etc. So this is another thing. Mantra, Arthavada. And third is a Kalpa. Kalpa refers to all those portions which give know-how, basically, the method of performing rituals. So what should be the material and how should you bring these materials, etc. And if it is the Soma Yaga, etc. is there, then you have to pluck the leaves of that creeper, Soma creeper, and then with certain chanting certain mantra, and then you have to bring it, you have to crush it while chanting certain other mantras. Then after crushing, you have to extract the juice. In order to that juice, Soma juice to be offered into Soma Yaga, that fire. Well, while there also is some specific mantras you have to chant, etc. And while offering, of course, there are mantras. So the method of performing itself, well, definitely, which is called Kalpa portion. Well, that is also resorting to that. Well, they say that this particular deity is to which this definitely which is off. Well, this oblation is offered, considering that as a Ishvara. So all this, all of them, they quote as their support, and so Ashita means resorting to their scriptural portion. Pratipedire means they hold different views. They consider that this particular deity is Ishvara compared to other deities, etc. So because that is required, how we feel that this is just it's a imagination or what? No, basically they take a scriptural support, and the scriptural support is of three types: either a mantra portion, either Arthavada portion, or this Kalpa. Either from there they derive a particular opinion that this particular deity is Ishvara, etc. Anyway, so this is the thing. Now, I would like to stop here because today is a Pradosha Puja, and so it has already started. So we'll stop here and we'll do tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.